Your 5th level dungeon is failing for one reason, and one reason only. You're still building it like a level 1 dungeon. This is for any DM running BX or OSE past level 4. The point where your fighter stops flinching at an orc and your magic user pulls Fireball out of the spellbook like it's an old magic missile spell. If your encounters still feel like a joke, or you're quietly stacking the deck to avoid a TPK, or conversely, having your players just romp through the dungeon itself hasn't caught up to the math. And here's how to fix it. And if you want these kinds of breakdowns before anyone else sees them, the minions get early access. Links in the description. I ran a 6th level party through a Hobgoblin Outpost a few years back using an old style room by room layout. Single combat, single room, door shut behind them, the usual stuff. It worked well for those first couple of levels, right? But my 6th level PCs, they walked in, the magic user dropped the fireball, and it was over in one round. No tension, no decisions, just the body count. And that's when I started thinking that I needed to figure out a better way to design dungeons past level 4. Between levels 4 and 8, the math of the game shifts hard. Characters can handle 4 hit die monsters without blinking. The fighter eats a few hits and keeps swinging. The cleric has a few, real healing spells in the tank now. And at level 5, your magic user, they get Fireball or Lightning Bolt. If your dungeon layout doesn't evolve with that, the game stalls. Either your players streamroll it, or you start fudging numbers to compensate. Neither one is fun, and neither one is necessary. Start with the architecture. At levels 1 through 3, maybe even 4, the standard 10-foot corridor lined with isolated rooms works fine. The party's operational radius is tiny. They poke a room, they retreat, they generally don't stir up the whole level. At level 5, that same layout means your players walk in, burn one single resource, and clear the room without a scratch. The monsters, in effect, have become speed bumps. Fix it by building tactical loops instead of dead-end rooms. If combat breaks out in room A, the noise doesn't stay in room A. The occupants of rooms B and room C are organized enough to hear it. They will recognize the threat and flank through a side passage. See, you're not designing single encounters anymore. You're designing defensive perimeters. An outpost of goblins, or hobgoblins, or ogres, or a faction of dark elves, they all have guards. There's runners to sound the alarm. There's fallback positions. And your map needs wider holes, choke points, murder holes, and escape tunnels to make that real. Force your players to think about line of sight and retreat paths, the same way the monsters do. The second shift, the dungeon becomes a political space, not just a danger space. What do I mean? Well, at low levels, monsters are, they're essentially obstacles. At mid levels, they're warlords and factions with competing agendas. Drop a cult of zealots on one side of the level and a colony of intelligent humanoids on the other. What does that do? Well, your players shouldn't be forced to fight both to the death. If they try to kick down every door and kill everything in sight at level 6, they should die. And not because you cheated, but because they treated an organized force like a random encounter table. Information becomes the most valuable resource in the dungeon at this tier. Who hates whom? Who controls the water supply? And trust me, that's often overlooked. What does each faction actually want? That turns the level into a leverage puzzle. Can the party buy off the cultists long enough to hit the warlord? Or broker a truce to get past the section they can't fight through? Lean on your reaction rolls and wandering monster tables to make this real. A wandering check at level 5 doesn't have to mean 3 trolls jump out and attack. It can be a scouting party that sizes up the players, decides they're too heavily armed and tries to extort a bribe, or runs off to one to camp instead. The reaction roll tells you whether a faction sees the party as a threat, a nuisance, or a tool to use against a rival. 3 quick ways to redesign your traps for this tier. Since the old ones have stopped working, this is very important. See, at low levels, a trap is a binary pass-fail that, well, often kills you outright. A poison needle, a pit with spikes, because resources are thin and one bad roll matters. By level 5, your party has the hit points and the saves to shrug those off. Even a 2d6 pit trap on a level 5 fighter isn't a hazard. It's a 5-minute delay while someone drops a rope. So, what do? First, trade lethal damage for strategic complication. A slide trap that drops the lead character down a level into an unsecured section, splitting the party while the rest scramble to find a way down before something else finds him first. That is a trap. Second type, well, trade single target damage for resource pressure. What do I mean? A trap that seals both ends of a corridor and starts filling it with sand or water. So now the magic user has to decide whether to burn a high-level spell to break the stone, or the thief has to disarm it under time pressure, while the noise potentially draws a patrol. Third, trade instant harm for environmental consequences. A flood of toxic gas or water that doesn't kill anyone, but closes off an easy route out and forces the party through a rival faction's territory instead, is an awesome way to move your party. It's an awesome way to essentially, dare I say it, screw with them, but in a way that makes sense. These are traps, right? But they're not save or die traps. They are literally, this is a consequence of your action. Last, account for the new magical toolkit instead of fighting it. A lot of DMs panic when the wizard gets fly, invisibility, locate object, fireball, lightning bolt. There's so many spells at those levels. And they often start inventing dead zones, magic-free zones, or unbypassable walls. You can't fly above this to keep their prep intact. Don't do it. Don't be tempted. That's DM fiat. Your players will feel it, and it kills the payoff of leveling up. How do you handle it? Well, you have to design assuming that they'll use these tools. The wizard flies across the chasm. Fine. But what's waiting on the far edge? Sorry, ledge. Gargoyles or archers with a clear shot at one isolated flying target. Someone goes invisible to scout a room. Intelligent factions keep guard beasts with a sense of smell, or dust the floor of key entryways to catch tracks. A dungeon that has stood for centuries in a world full of magic will be built to resist basic intrusion. Lead-lined doors against divination, physical locks that need an actual key instead of a knock spell, guardians immune to mind-affecting magic. You're not countering the player's abilities. You're making the world react to them like it actually has magic in it. Run one of these your next session. Take a single room from your current dungeon and turn it into a tactical loop with a fallback position for the monsters inside, and see if your players survive it the same way they survived the version you had planned before. Folks, huge thank you again to the millions of subscribers and everybody else. If you like what you see here, please subscribe. And as always, God bless, be well, and I'll catch you later.